guys, welcome to another Design Clips here at W+9. This is Dawn, and today I wanted to give you guys a closer look at our newest dies. These are our Stitched Details dies, and I have been having so much fun with these. Now I wanted to show you a little bit about these dies. Now these are really large dies, and they're available exclusively at W+9.com. The scale of these are very large, and I wanted to keep the price point reasonable. So for that reason, I'm not wholesaling these. These are only going to be available directly through W+9.com. So the first set that I wanted to give you guys a look at and kind of run you through how to use them is the Stuck On You die. And you can see that there are a lot of dies included in this set, and as you can see, it's a very, very large set. So you don't need a lot to really make a card work. I wanted to show you just a couple samples of some of the cards made with these so you can get a better idea of the scale of these dies. These are standard A2 cards. So on this first one I used the dies and the stitching details. Now the great thing about these is that if you don't want to do any hand stitching, on several of the designs the hand stitching detail die is separate from the outside cut line. So for example in this one, which you can see here in this card, you've got the outside die cut, which cuts the shape of the cactus, and then you've got your detail. Now, to achieve this look, it's got the white border around the edge. To achieve that, it's really easy. There are several different ways that you can use dies. Dies are so versatile. So to achieve that look, what I did was I die cut it, and then I just laid the die back over it, and then I just inked through it. This is our Limelight color. We released 3 new colors. We released Limelight, Queen Bee, and VI Pink. Now these are very bright. I like to call these our pop collection. They do work well with some of our previously released inks as well. For example, this Limelight is a shade darker and brighter than our Falling Star, and this one is a shade darker and brighter than our Beanstalk. And then this is a shade lighter than our Sweet Gelato. So it falls right in between our Little Piggy and our Sweet Gelato. Here you can see our Little Piggy, our VI Pink, and then our Sweet Gelato. I'm going to show you here how you can easily create almost like a stamped look, but you have a little more control, and you can actually fade it in, fade it out. Add a little bit of depth while you're at it. So there you have what appears to be a stamped and die cut image, and all we did was ink through the open center of this die. And then I just took this piece and went through my die cut machine and cut in my stitching holes. Now that we've got our stitching holes cut through there, I'm just going to use some good old DMC floss to stitch through those holes and add like the little, what would they be, the thorns or the briars, or I don't know, what are those called? The little sticky things. So you can use as few or as many threads. Each of the DMC floss, they come with 6 strands. Many of you probably already know this. This card I used all 6 for a thicker width of little briars. And here I've got 3, so that would be half the size. So basically we're going to do super simple running stitch or back stitch, whatever you want to call it, straight stitch. So then you're just going to continue to fill these in. Very easy. Then you can go through the back and you can either tie this off or you can trim it down and tape it with a little bit of clear tape. It's really up to you how you want to secure that in place. You don't even have to put anything. What I did was I left it open like this, but when I put my foam tape on the back, I just put it over the loose threads. I did the same thing for the pot here, and I used one of the pots here. I went ahead and cut that out, and then I used this little chevron stitch detail die, and I just die cut it twice. So I die cut it there, then shifted it down and die cut it again. The dies in here are nice and generously sized. So here is our sentiment, the Stuck On You sentiment. and I die cut that twice and added a little drop shadow. There's little flowers in here for your cactus. For this one, I die cut it from felt and then just glued it on with a little multi-medium mat. Another option for any of these dies would be to use them with felt, and we have a large selection of felt. These are all of the colors that we carry currently, and then we also have black, white, and cream. But I store all of mine here on this little ring with the DMC floss that matches it. So it's a quick reference guide for me, and I can quickly grab whatever I need and start my stitching. For this one, I just die cut them from felt, did my stitching, and I die cut a back panel using our 4-bar stitched rectangles die out of cream, and then I just stitched that to this back panel. So there's several other ways that you could use these dies. You could also create shaker cards, so you could cut your window using your die here. Another option would be to ink right through here, so you could take your inks and say you wanted to create a fun pattern. So there you can use it as a stencil. So then you could just use your pin here and add some little flicks here. Then what you can do is you can also cut these from fun foam to make your own stamps. So we went ahead and ran that through our die cut machine. I'm just going to clean this up because we're going to use this as a stamp here in a second. I'm going to take and poke out the areas that we don't need. Removable adhesive. Go ahead and pick him up. And now we can stamp some flowers on here, so we're going to go ahead and use our ink here. Ink that little bad boy up and stamp ourselves some flowers. So now we've got some cute little flowers in the background. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And we want this to be really authentic, so we're going to stamp it off once, and then we're going to stamp it on again to give it a very authentic look. There you have it. Super simple. So off camera, I did another one right here. This time, I actually went all the way around with that pin. The same pin that we made the flicks with, I just went all the way around, and then I added the die cut from black on this one. So this is another option as well. And again, this was all done from dies, no stamps. Then this one, of course, for a very authentic one-layer look. So just a quick recap of how versatile these dies are. Well, we can use them with the stitching with felt. We can ink through them and die cut them and stitch them and add stamping to the background. You can also create stencils that then create a stamped look, but really you did these all with stencils. You can create stamps out of them with fun foam, as we did here and here. So this is just a few of the things that you can do with die. Dies are so versatile. You can also die cut these from watercolor paper and watercolor them. So you can really get a lot of bang for your buck from dies. So that's a quick recap of the Stuck On You. Now I want to go through the other ones that we've also released in this collection because they're super cute as well. Okay, so we also released this little ice cream set. This is the Sweet On You set, and this again you can use with or without stitching. You could use this in all the same ways that you used that I showed you with the Stuck On You. This one comes with two sentiments. One says Sweet On You, which we can see here. So we've got the Sweet On You sentiment. You've got your one ice cream cone here. You've got a small scoop, which I've used on here as well. You've got the strawberry and the cherry, which I've used here, and then you've got your little whipped cream scoop here as well. Also included is another sentiment. This is the You're So Sweet, and then you can see that here the You're So Sweet actually fits wonderfully into the larger ice cream scoop. Both of these do. You can do the Sweet on You. You could die cut this out of the scoop and then fit it back in, and then also the Sweet on You will fit in here as well. But they also layer over the small scoop as well. Also, we've got the little chocolate fudge or strawberry or marshmallow, whatever color topping you want to do here, whatever flavor. Now here I've used it on top of the large scoop, and then I also used it on the cone, and I just trimmed down the sides so that it looked like the cone was chocolate dipped as well. And then we have our little sprinkles here. Now these again are optional stitching, so I cut out the small scoop and then I ran it through the die cut again with the stitching holes. So you could use your sprinkles on either scoop here, just die cut it out, add your sprinkles, die cut it out. Or, as you can see in this one, I added the sprinkles to the background instead. So here I created my little scoops, added some little glitter, added some little sprinkles using another die that cuts out a bunch of little hearts, and added my sprinkles to the background, and then on its matching card I chose to cut the sprinkles from the scoop and stitch those in. So again, this is another really versatile set. You could do a lot of the same techniques that I showed you with Stuck on You with the Sweet on You. Next up we have the Sucker for You set. Now this one is really cute as well. It die cuts some cute little lollipops. You can use them with the stitching or without the stitching. Here I've shown you without any stitching, but you can also, because these dies are separate, you can cut your circle, your lollipop circle, then from that circle you can cut your stitching holes and then you can stitch in your patterns. Same here, it's a nice little swirl. It emulates the little swirl here, but again, you could die cut your circle, die cut your stitching holes out of your circle, and then add in your stitched swirls. Also included in the set is this cute little bow. I love this little thing. It's so darling. You cut both pieces and then the back piece you just wrap that around. There is a little extra here that you will trim off, but for me I wanted this to be long enough that you could grab it with your tweezers and wrap it around, pinch it in place when it glued till it adheres. Pinch it in place until it adheres, and then trim off that little tiny extra bit. To me, that seemed easier to keep it longer and have to trim it than to have it too short and try to fiddle with getting it to fit perfectly around. The two large sentiments in this set, this one is it says, I'm a sucker for you. The other one says, hey sweetie, and I'll show you the I'm a sucker for you here in a second. And then you also get the lollipop stick. So this is just another really cute one, and don't worry, it looks like, oh, I'm only showing one sample, but I created several samples. Don't you worry. I wanted to save that to show you guys how well all of these products work together. They're all scaled to work beautifully together as well as separately. So we've also got these two critter dies. Now this one is previously released, however I did put it in the new release section under the website so that you could easily find it. But this is our Panda. He was released last year, and here is a little sample of him. He is adorable. Now here I've just die cut him, stitched around his edges, and then I just trimmed off the bottom of his little body here because I wanted him to go on the front of this card, and I wanted him to match the other card that I'm about to show you. But here I wanted to show you how the Sucker for You is scaled perfectly so that this critter can hold it, and then I added the I'm a sucker for you sentiment to the front. Love this one. Now he comes with a large flower that he can hold. It can also be used with felt, so here he is put together with a bit of felt, and stuffed with just a little bit, I want to say cotton balls. I want to say I used cotton balls to stuff him, but you could use polyfill, the thing that's actually made to stuff these with. But I had cotton balls on hand, so that's what I used. And then to glue all of his features on, again, I just used that fabric fuse. And then I was playing around with adding little flowers to him. Oh, so cute. I wanted a little wreath of flowers on, I guess it would be a her now. But this is how he looks when you stuff him and create a little plush friend out of him. Now you'll notice here his arms are different. All I did was I wanted him to be able to fold his arms around. So when I cut his legs, I cut 2 sets, and I put his legs on the bottom, and then I also used his legs for his arms instead of his little hand die. He's got a little friend here, and his little friend, this is our plush friend pup die. And again, this is quite large. You can see here, he is almost a full A2 card size, and he comes with a lot of little accessories. We've got our card base, we've got our eyes, we've got the hands, we've got the insides of his ears, we've got his little dog nose here, or his mouth or his jowls. I don't know what those would be exactly. This is the nose. I guess those would kind of be the jowls. And then we've got accessories over here to build up his little heart. We've got 2 hearts. We've got some flower leaves, 2 kinds. We've got a flower. We've got a center for a flower. And we've also got this little guy here. Now, when I was looking at him, I was like, guess what he could easily become? A pig. So I had to include the pig nose, and that is where this little guy comes in. So here we have, I've cut him out of pink, and we have a cute little pig. So both, I just love these. This one I did trim down a little bit because the panda has black legs, his legs are separate. So his body part is a little bit smaller than the dog. So I had to trim him down just a bit, but still super cute. I cut him out of cardstock, stitched around the edges, and then what I did, this little heart is removable. His hands are loose. I left his hands, didn't glue his hands down. I stitched his hands on so that he could hold this little heart. So to do this heart, I took a piece of cardstock and I folded it in half, burnished the top fold here, and then when I ran it through my die cut machine, I left the top edge hanging off. So I ran it through the die cut machine like that. And what it did was it gave me a connected heart here. So now I have a cute little note card that I then just die cut another heart, laid it on top of, die cut several of these, stitched through it, and then adhered it to the front. So now he becomes the whole card, and this is where I can write my message to my recipient. And then he holds the little card in his hands. And then here I used just the little heart die, cut several of that from red cardstock, so it's got a little bit of weight, then stitched around the edges. Used the You're So Sweet sentiment from Sweet on You, and then the bow and the lollipop stick from Stuck on You. So this creates a cute little 4-bar card. Perfect for a Valentine, perfect for a love note, something to slip in a lunchbox, briefcase, just super, super cute and easy. These are just the accessories from that. Now, from that, I was able to create this, which is completely different look from these. This is very cute. This has a more folk art feel, and that's because we did the felt. So I cut all of the little flowers. So I just cut our little flower from the felt, and then each of the leaves, and then I cut a big black heart here, and then arranged all of that on top and hand stitched it into place, and then added a little sentiment here to the top. For the black heart, what I did was I attached felt to a sheet of Stick It, die cut it out, peeled off the back, and then I was able to stick that right to the front of the card base. So it is nice and secure. It is not going anywhere. So I really, really love how this one turned out. So again, all the dies work perfectly together. Here you can see the lollipops are scaled to fit in his hand. The ice cream cones are also scaled to fit perfectly in their hands. So he could be holding the ice cream scoop, as you can see. It's perfectly scaled. Just a really versatile set of dies. And then we have the needlepoints heart die. Now this is, again, generously sized. It comes with 3 dies. You have the nested heart, the double heart, and then the single smaller heart. This will cut all the holes needed to do some hand-stitched hearts on any of your projects. It's great for card making or scrapbooking. For this sample card, I just die cut the nested heart from a 4.5-inch square and stitched each step in a different color in rainbow order. This just screamed rainbow to me, and I love how it turned out. I then adhered that to a 5-inch card base, and that was it. Added my sentiment. Now if you wanted, you could add one of the die cut sentiments to here. So any of our die cuts then would look good here instead. Let's show you. You could stitch this, then add the I'm a sucker for you. You could add the hey sweetie instead of the banner die cut here. They're all scaled to work beautifully together. So really you have a ton of options. Now the double heart, of course, will cut a double interlocked heart that you can then stitch. You have the single heart. And this one you could die cut multiple times and then stitch it in. A very simple die, but can add a lot to any project. So there you have a closer look at our new Stitched Details die collection. Remember, these are exclusive to W+9, so you'll only be able to purchase them at W+9.com. Remember to check the description box below for links to our blog, where there are blog posts for each of these projects, along with instructions on how to make them and links for all of the projects used. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope this gives you some great ideas for not only how to use these dies, but how to utilize and stretch other dies you may already have in your stash. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!